Megaregion Network. The future of cities isn't about building taller skylines. It's about connecting the ones that already exist. Across southern China, the Greater Bay Area is turning 11 cities, from Hong Kong to Shenzhen to Guangzhou, into one seamless urban web. High-speed trains slash travel times to minutes. A bridge that once separated regions now carries 500,000 people a day. Data, logistics, and finance flow across borders like they were never there. Each city keeps its role. Hong Kong handles money, Shenzhen builds tech, Foshan manufactures parts. But they all plug into the same system. The magic is in coordination, not construction. Planning agencies share energy grids, airport traffic, even environmental policies. Together, they form a network that functions like a single heartbeat. Japan's Osaka-Tokyo corridor already does this with its Shinkansen loop, where cities trade commuters as easily as data packets. The United States is studying similar links between Boston, New York, and Washington. Not a single megacity, but a mega-region powered by speed and shared purpose. Car-free core. Oslo didn't wait for the future to arrive. It built it by kicking cars out. The city began quietly, removing a few parking spaces at a time, testing how far people were willing to walk. Then the benches came in, then the bike lanes, then the cafe tables. Within months, the center started sounding different. Less metal, more voices. Streets once clogged with engines became corridors of conversation. Shopkeepers feared losing customers, but foot traffic tripled. Parents let kids wander again. Even air quality monitors started showing numbers no one had seen in decades. By 2019, Oslo reached a record no other capital could match: 0 pedestrian and cyclist deaths. And it didn't stop there. New housing is built without parking. Delivery trucks enter only during certain hours, and buses run on quiet electric motors. Milan and Paris are now tracing the same pattern, turning ring roads into green belts and city cores into walking districts. Compact density. Some cities don't fight space, they master it. Tokyo turned density into an art form, stacking homes, shops, and offices so tightly around train stations that life feels vertical, not horizontal. Step outside your apartment and there's a noodle bar downstairs, a grocery store across the alley, and a metro entrance 10 steps away. Trains run every few minutes because the demand is built in. People live exactly where they move. Nothing is wasted, not even the sky. Hong Kong perfected the same logic with its rail plus property model. The transit company builds the line, then develops the towers and malls above each stop. Rent from those buildings funds the next extension, creating a loop of growth that never needs subsidies. It's not just efficient, it's self-sustaining. Japan's flexible zoning laws keep these areas alive. A bakery can open next to an apartment, a clinic can fit beside a bar. The mix keeps neighborhoods human, dense but not dull. While most countries chase sprawl and endless parking lots, these compact cities squeeze value out of every square meter, proving that the less ground you cover, the more life you fit in. Digital twin. In Singapore, the city doesn't just live on the ground, it lives in data. Every street, roof, and power line is mirrored inside a massive 3D model called Virtual Singapore. It's not some gimmick. It's a planning tool that lets the government see the future before it happens. Planners can simulate traffic flow, test how wind moves through skyscraper corridors, and even predict how sunlight hits a neighborhood across seasons. When a storm approaches, they already know which roads flood first. When a new building's proposed, they can test how it changes the skyline before a single brick is laid. Seoul took that concept and humanized it with Metaverse Seoul, a digital city hall where citizens can meet officials, tour landmarks, and even pay taxes using avatars. It's urban life recoded for accessibility. The real Seoul runs on concrete, the virtual one runs on connection. Together, these projects point to a bigger shift: cities becoming self-aware systems. They don't just react to problems, they predict them. In the next decade, every growing city might need its own twin, one made of data, constantly learning, evolving, and preparing for what's next. Water resilience. Some cities fight water, others learn to live with it. Rotterdam chose the second path. Not with taller walls, but smarter ground. Instead of hiding behind concrete, it built plazas that double as reservoirs. Basketball courts and playgrounds turn into flood basins when storms roll in. Rain isn't an emergency, it's part of the plan. The city reshaped itself to guide water instead of resisting it. Canals flow through new parks, roofs collect rainfall, and even bus stops sprout greenery to slow the runoff. Rotterdam treats water like a guest, not an enemy. Across the world, Wuhan is part of China's national Sponge City program, aiming to make 80% of urban areas soak up and reuse rainfall by 2030. Streets, sidewalks, and rooftops are built with porous materials that drink water instead of shedding it. Parks are designed as wetlands, filtering what flows through. It's nature re-engineered for survival. The message is clear. You can't outbuild climate change, but you can outsmart it. Cities that live with water stay alive through it. They're rewriting urban design into something older and wiser. Cooperation with the elements, not conquest. Floating City. Just off the coast of Malé, the Maldives floating city is rewriting how humans live with water. Entire neighborhoods drift on the surface, modular islands built from buoyant platforms that rise and fall with the tide. Homes are painted in coral colors, canals replace streets, and the sea itself becomes part of the cooling system. There's no seawall, no landfill, no fight against nature. Instead, the city bends with it. Dutch engineers from Water Studio designed the system using the same technology behind Amsterdam's floating offices, proving architecture doesn't need land to stand. It's more than a design experiment, it's a survival plan. For island nations threatened by rising seas, the ocean isn't an enemy anymore, it's real estate. Busan, South Korea, is following the same idea with Oceanics, a floating district designed to hold thousands. These platforms generate their own energy, recycle their water, and move slightly to handle waves. The concept flips the old idea of permanence. A city doesn't need to be fixed to exist. The future might drift, adjust, and float, but it will stay standing. For the first time, urban life isn't claiming the sea. It's learning to belong to it. Superblocks. Barcelona didn't tame traffic, it rewired it. The city grouped 9 regular blocks, blocked through cars, and handed the inside back to people. Streets that once echoed with engines turned into open courtyards where kids played and cafes spread their tables under trees. Within months, air quality inside the Sant Antoni superblock improved by nearly 25%, and noise levels dropped so sharply that you could actually hear conversations from balconies again. It felt less like a capital city and more like a neighborhood that remembered how to breathe. The secret wasn't futuristic tech. It was human math. Cars can still enter, but only to park or make deliveries during certain hours. Everything else slows to walking speed. The grid still works, just differently. It's tuned for connection instead of congestion. Now the ripple's global. Los Angeles, Quito, Buenos Aires, even parts of Seoul are sketching their own superblocks. Each one looks different, but the idea stays the same. Take back the street, and life rushes in to fill the silence. When asphalt becomes community space, a city doesn't stop moving. It finally starts living. 15-minute life. Paris is proving that convenience isn't luxury. It's design. The city's biggest project isn't another skyscraper, it's time. Every school, shop, park, and doctor's office is being planned so you can reach them within 15 minutes by foot or bike. The goal isn't just shorter commutes, it's shorter distances between living and life. Car lanes are turning into tree-lined boulevards. Intersections are being softened into plazas, and schoolyards now double as playgrounds after hours. The city feels less like a machine and more like a neighborhood again. Other cities are catching on fast. Melbourne calls it the 20-minute neighborhood, and Portland adopted its own version to rebuild community ties after decades of sprawl. Even Bogota is experimenting with hyper-local zoning to keep services close. The model doesn't demand money, it demands intent, design that values time over traffic.